Greetings everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Legends with the Hivehound. And today we are looking at the new campaign ship, the brand new Navarin. Navarin is a tier 8 premium ship that comes from the campaign, as we all come to sort of know and understand by now. So we're going to have a quick look at the basic stats of this ship. So 69,000 hit points. It has 12 406mm guns, base range of 16.7, 35 second reload, and a 30 second 180 degree turn time. So not the most impressive guns we've seen at tier 8 so far. Maximum HE shell damage of 58,000, but a 41% fire chance. So, yeah, move over, Conqueror. I think we've got a new HE spammer coming in. Even though the AP shells seem low at 11,000 maximum damage for a Citadel, there is an absolute plethora of 130mm secondaries, though. AA defense, so the score seems good at 89. But, like, it really doesn't start doing massive damage until you're in 2.5 kilometers, where it does the 300 average per second. So, yeah, I don't think you're really gonna deter anyone with that. Maneuverability, 27 knots, which is pretty slow. 16 second rudder shift time, okay, I guess, for a battleship. And our concealment is 14.5. Base. Obviously, I've got no stats for it because I haven't played it yet. So the armor we have, can we actually get? So the bow plating is 35mm. So it's got a pretty sturdy bow. Have a quick check of the Citadel. So the Citadel, as you can see, sits predominantly below the water. It's only very slightly raised. It has, that's 75mm, 75mm deck, 50mm at the side, but then that is protected by a rather heavy casemate, which has 340mm plating. There is a reasonably large amount of superstructure, considering it's a Russian ship. So if you're a light cruiser, I think there's definitely some damage to be done. So above average secondary battery range. Main battery turrets can rotate a full 360 degrees. Good concealment, 14.5 kilometers. Good concealment. Well, the crack pipe is being passed around once again, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, so in February 1914, work on a new battleship design commenced, with the primary focus being to range 16-inch guns in quadruple gun turrets and a secondary battery comprising of 15.1-inch guns in the Okabov factory. The main turrets were positioned along the ship's center line because of the outbreak of World War I. No ships of this design were ever laid down. But the design was completed in 1915. Right, okay, so let's have a look at our upgrades. I'm assuming we are going to go full on secondary, because, like, let's be real, what's the point in going anything else with a ship that seems to be full? It's Russian, we're not going to have great accuracy, so let's not concern ourselves all too much with that. Got the main battery mod, secondary battery mod. Right, there we go. So let's have a look. So we have reduced the 6 second reload on secondaries down to 4.9, which is quite nice. Let's have a look at our commander, shall we? Right, we want to build something full secondary. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm going to come back once I've done the commander build. And there we go. I have quickly slapped this together. So we're going with Mikhail Kedrov, Franz von Hipper, and Una as our inspirations. We're going to take Not One for Nuisance, Porcupine, Collective Labour, Properly Meticulous, and in all fairness, I'm not entirely sure which ones of these. We've got Not One for Nuisance, right? So I think taking Not One for Nuisance and Fight Fire with Fire might be a bit of overkill. But we definitely don't want worse main battery dispersion. So we're going to run Will to Rebuild. And it would obviously help if I equip into the ship. So there we go. Let's have a quick look. So we've reduced the reload time to 4.3 seconds. We've now got 11 kilometer range. Not the greatest secondaries in the game, but we're getting pretty close. We are in, you know, we're in a kilometer of maxed out Bismarck territory. So maybe this is a secondary boat after all. Right, so enough of the nonsense. I guess everyone wants to know, is this ship actually worth playing? And the only way to do that is by playing the ship itself. So let's get ourselves into battle and see how this all works out. So we will see you on the other side. Right, okay, and we are back. So I have done a bit of gaming in the background, done a bit of testing, because I was a little bit perplexed about the secondaries and they didn't seem to be performing as well as they should. And that's partly because I'm an idiot. Because, if you remember, when we were looking through the stats, these secondaries are 130mm. These are small destroyer caliber guns. So, if you're getting in really close quarters with other ships that aren't very lightly plated destroyers, you're not going to pen them. You need to keep your distance somewhat. What? A brawling battleship keeping its distance? Yes, keeping its distance. 5 to 10 kilometers. These secondaries are really, really good. I done enter training room with a couple of friends. We even put this up against a Schlieffen with a max secondary build, and as long as I maintained that distance of at least 5 kilometers, absolutely destroyed it. Same, we tested Bismarck as well. Bismarck was exactly the same. Unfortunately, nobody had the Atlantico. I do strongly feel like the Atlantico would probably tear this ship apart completely. But, you know, we just haven't had the facilities to test that. But yeah, that's definitely something that I feel everyone needs to be aware of and everyone needs to be considering. Is, yeah, you definitely want to keep at least some range, despite it being a brawler. Other than that, it's actually quite a nice ship. I'll be honest with you, the 360-degree gun turrets, anyone who's played the Colombo should be fully aware of just how good that is. It's very useful. It's reasonably tanky as well. We got 70,000 hit points, not the largest hit point pool in the game, but should we say fair and reasonable. I did notice an Atlantico up there, and part of me just wants to charge at the Atlantico, send him a message and go like 1v1 me secondaries only, and see if Bean Source is down. But unfortunately, he's on Xbox, so we're not going to be able to do that this time. Unfortunately, due to the large amount of battleships and there only being one destroyer on each team, we do seem to be stuck in a bit of a stalemate. I understand the cruisers not wanting to spot, but let's be honest here, the cruisers are the best ships to perform that role. I don't really want to take my Navarin around this corner with at least 2 battleships and the cruiser being a mines, which is particularly not healthy. I don't want to get set on fire 47,000 times because I only have 4 damage controls. But we're kind of stuck. We've got a choice. We can either do something. We've got two choices. We can sit here and wait for the enemy to do something dumb, or we can push and we can actively try and do something ourselves. Now they seem to be behind that island, or at least that's where they were. There we go. Our secondary is going to start kicking off at bean sauce. Unfortunately, I don't have the elevation to shoot at the Atlantico directly myself. That was rather underwhelming, that salvo on we've got an Atlantico and a Zeton, and it looks very much like the Zeton at least is going to push. We've got HE loaded. Not ideal. It's a broadside Zeton, but if we can get our AP on the go. But you will actually see our secondaries, particularly at this range, actually putting a good bit of work in on our behalf. I am quite fortunate that Atlantico didn't decide to push simultaneously as well. That felt quite good, actually. Unfortunately, even though we are out here putting all this work in, I guess we're on the flank with the two cruisers. Again, the two cruisers are not overly concerned with pushing. Where are these torpedoes? Direct front. Does anyone else feel robbed? I feel robbed. We do have a cruiser pushing up to... the cruisers are now pushing up to give us some assistance. There we go, the secondaries are going again. We've already got 140 hits. Not gonna lie, I did kind of want to save that salvo for the Atlantico that's hiding around this corner. I'm a bit dubious. We are down to probably about 19,000 hit points by the time we finished healing up here. We might just make 20. And I don't know if he's taken any damage whatsoever. So pushing this Atlantico is really not on my list of fun and exciting and enthusiastic things that I'm exciting things I'm enthusiastic about doing. Particularly with the dive bombers coming up overhead. Very much a situation where it could have been worse. I'm really trying not to cross in front of the torps, but our friendly destroyer. Surprisingly, actually, I didn't realise this, but the Atlantico has actually taken a lot more damage than I thought he did. So I'm a little bit more inclined to actually push him now. Oh, and Bean Sauce ignores us with his main battery. Do we have enough time to fire our main guns before he or I explode? I feel like their carrier is in a bit of a panic as he's kind of dropping us willy-nilly, but we are basically the only thing left alive on our team at this point, which is slightly unfortunate. But, well, okay. we are actually going to do it. We're going to call it. I'm not going to bother taking this ship into another battle trying to get one of those absolute barn burners. In all fairness, I'm averaging probably easily at over 100k each match. It's a pretty decent ship all round. Like I said, there is just that one caveat of don't really try and brawl things under 5 kilometers, because you're really not going to do a whole lot. It was a fairly epic loss. GG's to the Bismarck B on my team, who had a pretty good game. Bean Sauce in the Atlantico generally had looked like he had a pretty decent match as well. So anyway, that is my first look and my first impression of the Navarin. I'm probably going to check out, see what like an accuracy build and stuff does for it, but it's a secondary boat, so secondaries is what we went for. Obviously, great fire chance with the main battery. Overall impressions, it's definitely not a bad ship. This is like a 7 out of 10. It's definitely not the best of the tier. It's definitely not an Atlantico, okay, but it's also not a Vanguard. Or a buff card. I like Vanguard's very good now, but yeah, it's getting there. So anyway, I do hope you enjoyed our first look at the Navarin, and as always, until next time, take care.